Welcome to Rick Rack Ruby. I'm Laura Cluvo. Today we will be doing another thrift flip. It's a Halloween dress and it features panels in the skirt. See these vertical panels instead of just rows of ruffles. So it's a little bit different and it's fun and easy. So let's get started. Wow, that is really bright. I've done 3 of those ruffled orange Halloween dresses, and I find that I have several long sleeve shirts with just the sleeves are left over and the rest is just scraps. So I am going to try, that's the thing when you're working with thrifted, you really only have one shot at it, right? I'm going to try to create a skirt from the sleeves. I have 4 shirts with long sleeves, and one of them actually is so stained that I'm not even going to use that one. But if I have to, one of them is cleaner than the other. But anyway, this is the smallest and the shortest, and I can't use the cuff. So I'm going to call this sort of like my limiting sleeve. I can't go any longer, and I can't really use the cuff. So I think I'll turn it inside out just so I can see the seams. And I'm going to cut it just above the cuff here. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to be serging it. But I guess it would be smart to be cutting through only a single layer. And then I'm going to remove this part from the shoulder. I'm only cutting through a single layer, but you could just fold it in half and cut through both layers if you like. I just want to minimize any risk of making a mistake because I don't have a lot of these. Okay, and now I'm going to cut right here. Okay, now I'm imagining this will be attached to the bodice, and then this I will trim off somehow, just kind of from point to point here, boom, boom. Since I have a grid on my cutting mat, maybe I'll use that. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. So this doesn't have to be the exact same taper on both sides. It doesn't have to be exactly right. We're just repurposing. So we're gonna use, kind of use it the way we find it, and it's not all exactly precise. That's okay. I have this option for the bodice. So I also might use this one, which is considerably larger. The size is missing from this, but I think it's probably like a 10-12, which is considerably larger. So what I'm gonna do, I think, is just cut these panels like this from all my sleeves, and then I'll determine however much I have at the top edge of the sewn together panels. That will determine how big of a t-shirt I can use for the bodice. This sleeve is the most stained. It's stained on both sides, and so I'm going to avoid that one, but I can use the second sleeve on this shirt, even though it's not perfect, it's a little dirty. But I like having an odd number for the sleeve panels. I like to avoid having a seam right down the dead center. I think it's better just to have a nice panel in the center. And so I'm gonna just use one of these. And this one goes in the trash. Okay, to make the little skirt, this is my single sleeve because the mate was too stained. And then I'm going to do pairs on either side, like this. I'm gonna try to do, you know, some kind of contrast, like this, and then this, and then two more on the outside. Now these two will meet in the back, and they are, you know, the same, from the same shirt. Wow, this is plenty long. Well, let's just keep going. So I'm starting with the panel that's on the far left. I'm just gonna stack these. I think I might actually use black thread, so we'll have lines of black stitching in between these panels. I don't really know exactly what to call these, so let's just call them the panels. And the idea for this, for using the sleeves to make panels for the skirt, is absolutely from the Cat Wise Sweater Coat tutorial, which is available on Etsy, Katwise. And that's where I learned to cut your sleeves to create the skirt. Here are my panels, 7 panels gathered up, and I am going to place this with the black stitching showing. I had to place the panels wrong sides together to sew them up in order for the stitches to show. So I guess I'm going to use this size 3 Good Witch t-shirt because that seems to be the best fit for the skirt. So I'm gonna cut this now 1 inch below. Oh, you know what? I did want to say that, you know, 35 years ago, when my daughter was a toddler, you know, we would just take a t-shirt like this and gather up a skirt and add a skirt and call it a day, right? But now I feel like this looks really dated and not really that modern. And the thing that makes this project feel modern and fun is the shape of the skirt, that sort of baby doll shape. So I want to make sure that this project also has that sort of signature baby doll look. So I'm going to draw a line 1 inch below this, and then I'm just going to go and kind of indicate on the back where that line was. And then, oops, I think and then on the back, I'm going to cut it 1 inch lower than that line. And then again, I'm going to just open this up to the side seam in the center, and I'm going to connect these lines. Now you can just do a, you know, like a little slanted line if you like. I'm matching up the side seams, so the side seams are together like that. And then you can always just sort of connect them like this. Just a little bit different than the way I did it before with the CD, but you know, I want to give you options, right? So let's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 inches up and then 2 inches down from the seam. So like that. And this is the line I'm going to use to connect. Just plunging ahead. And now I am going to, I just love the little baby doll shape. I love it shorter in the front, longer in the back. So let me find the center, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the center, this middle panel, and I'm going to, it doesn't quite reach, so I'm going to have to, well, I guess I could add another panel, but I think what I'm going to do is just sort of clip the, like I'll clip every panel once and kind of stretch it out a little bit so that it fits. It's not hard, it's no big deal. So I'll just maybe take a seam ripper and go boop, 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 right in the middle of each panel, then kind of tug it a little bit to make sure. And then I'll remember to put these wrong sides together and serge up the last two edges here. Wrong sides together with my black serger thread, and open these up a little, be sure that they're long enough to fit around this very small shirt. It's only a size 3. And then I'll be back. Here's how it looks with the skirt attached. It turned out okay, except right here, there's not enough pleats right here, but that's okay. We can always put a bow there. Now I'm feeling like this section here is a little bit too long. I still want to add a little ruffle around the bottom, and I feel like at that point for a size 3-year-old girl, this is going to be like around the middle of her shins, and that's a little too long. So I'm going to take 3 inches off the entire bottom. I'm still going to maintain that the back is longer than the front. I'm just going to take 3 inches off. Here we go. I just removed this bottom 3-inch strip from the hem, and now I'm going to cut a 3-inch strip. I think from this t-shirt, it's just, you know, having an orange strip at the bottom, like with the last project, it's just too boring. And then it's just an orange dress. So let's really make it look like an upcycle. And I'm gonna cut 3-inch strips. I'm not gonna use the hem because obviously only this one little section would be hemmed. So I'm gonna remove the hem and then just cut 3-inch strips, as many as I can get. And then, I'm not sure, but this looks like almost like a brand new shirt. So I'm gonna see if I can't also make some sleeves from this sleeve and replace this little cap sleeve so that we have a tie-in between the sleeve and the hem. I have made so many upcycled, thrifted projects like this, and I feel completely confident just sort of chopping things up. So I'm gonna cut off the hem. And since I'm serging everything, the serger cleans it all up. So there's my 3-inch. I'm not gonna mark, I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna hack it up. I don't like taking short strokes like this, but since I've gotta hold the ruler down so tightly, it prohibits me from lifting. And also, it's hard to cut through this knit fabric with a rotary cutter. I'm going to remove one of the seamed sides so that I have long strips. That is nice and long. I'll just cut this all the way up to the armpits. Let's see, I can get 1, 2, 3, 4 at least. And they get a little smaller as we go up. I feel like that will be enough of the strips, but if I need more, I can cut a few more from this. Now let's look at the sleeves. This is tricky because this is an adult women's size, and I just kind of need to determine how I want to do this. Okay. So one way to do it is I can cut this shape from the fold here, see? And then this shape, and then kind of taper it to the cuff, kind of estimating how long, and I don't mind if it's too long. I kind of like that. I think I'll do it that way. I think I'm gonna remove the cuff. There we go. Yeah, I feel better about that. I can put it back on later, but I just didn't want to cut the seam of the cuff, if that makes sense, because then it just never quite goes back to that nice clean cuff again. Do you think this is long enough? Let's see. Can you see that? Okay. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to start about here. And then, let's see, about like this. And let's see how it looks. That looks like a pretty good sleeve pattern. So I'll do this same shape over on this side. I guess it doesn't really matter where I place it. I'm going to remove this again. Then I think I'm gonna sew these back on. I think I'll move this down this time, about like that. This is the seam, and this is the fold. There we go. And then I'm going to remove the sleeves from here, just carefully. I think I'll cut on the outside of this serge seam because I'm going to use my serger to attach it, and so that's going to come off anyway. And then to make a new sleeve, I'm going to fold this in half, right sides together. In this case, I'm not going to have the seam showing. I'll sew that, I'm going to serge that, and then I have this little tube of a sleeve, and then I'm going to put it inside here, stitch it to the inside of the armhole there. I'm going to start with the strips. I'll serge them together, and in this case I am doing right sides together. So it'll be right sides together so that the serging stitches don't interrupt the print. I already have enough interruptions with these seams that are in the strips already. So I'll join all these strips, gather them up with my ruffler attachment, and stitch them to the hem of the dress. All right, I'll do that and I'll be back, and then we will take care of the sleeve. Here we go. I've added the ruffle onto the bottom, and of course I realized I had to sew that with my straight stitch machine, just a regular sewing machine, after I gathered it up, and I couldn't serge that. Now let's add the sleeves. Okay, so I've removed these little sleeves, but I left the seam there. Just if you take too much off, then you wind up with your sleeve coming in too far, if that makes sense. So here's the sleeve pieces that I cut, and I'm going to put these right sides together and serge up these underarm seams on both of these pieces. And then after that is sewn, I'll turn it right side out and stitch it to each one to the armholes. Here we go. I have sleeves, and I have the bottom ruffle, and I even hemmed the bottom ruffle with a rolled hem on my serger. You only use one needle to create a rolled hem, and then I kind of tugged on it as it went through the machine, and that gave this little lettuce edge. And it looks so cute that I think I'm just going to do the same thing on the cuffs. So that'll be my only finish on the sleeves. And the last thing to do is a little decoration right here. And then this is going to be so cute. I am finished. Okay, I did this little lettuce edge hem on the sleeves, which turned out cute. And then I had the idea to get a spider ring and then thread a bunch of ribbon through it and use it as a little bow on the waistband. But when I got these, they're from Michael's, I discovered they aren't actually rings. See, they're open here. And so the idea that I had I tried threading the ribbons on and it was a struggle. So I wound up just tying these ribbons into a big knot and then cutting these off with wire cutters and then just gluing this on and then pinning it on with a safety pin. So that's how I decided to finish it. All right, well, I'm gonna put her on the mannequin and give her a twirl. Thank you for watching my video. If you're enjoying my tutorials, please like, share, and subscribe.